The Final Ride of Frank Miller, 2012. It was an ordinary afternoon on December 3rd, 2012, and Frank Miller, a former MLB pitcher turned charismatic Christian radio host, was on air doing what he loved, engaging his listeners with stories, musings, and faith-inspired reflections. Known for his sharp wit and candid demeanor, Frank often shared anecdotes from his playing days, life lessons, and personal philosophies. But that day, something unusual happened, something that would haunt his audience forever. As he addressed his listeners, Frank's voice carried a peculiar gravity. He was talking about life, faith, and the unpredictability of death when he said something chilling. "You know, if I were to die today on my motorcycle, I know where I'm going. Do you?" Little did anyone realize those words would become a tragic, self-fulfilling prophecy. Later that day, as the sun dipped below the California horizon, Frank hopped on his beloved motorcycle, a bike he cherished for the freedom it symbolized. He rode out just like any other day, weaving through the familiar streets. But fate had its own plans. Somewhere along the 210 freeway, disaster struck. Frank was involved in a severe accident that left him with fatal injuries. Hours later, he succumbed to them, leaving behind not just family and friends, but an entire community reeling from the shock of his loss. News of his eerie on-air prediction spread quickly, sparking debates and deep reflection among his listeners and beyond. Was it mere coincidence, a subconscious premonition, or perhaps a profound intuition tied to his faith? Whatever the case, his final ride became a poignant reminder of life's fragility and the mysteries of the human spirit. Frank's story continues to inspire conversations about faith, intuition, and the power of words. It's a tale that lingers, as vivid as the sound of his voice that day, a voice that seemed to know its journey was nearing an end. The Tragic Tale of Shane and Sally, 1988. Shane Stewart and Sally McNee were high school sweethearts in the small town of San Angelo, Texas. To outsiders, they seemed like any other young couple navigating the thrills and challenges of teenage love. But behind their smiles was a darker, hidden truth. The two had become involved with a group dabbling in satanic rituals, a secret that would lead to their untimely deaths. The summer of 1988 marked a turning point. Both Shane and Sally began expressing their desire to distance themselves from the group. Friends later recalled that Shane had voiced concerns about their involvement, fearing the consequences of trying to leave. Tragically, those fears were not unfounded. On July 4th, 1988, Shane and Sally were last seen alive. They had spent the evening watching fireworks, a quintessentially American summer tradition. But by the next morning, their families realized something was wrong when they didn't return home. Days later, Shane's car was found abandoned at O.C. Fisher Lake, its doors open and keys missing. The couple had vanished without a trace. For months, the case grew cold, until a devastating discovery. In November of that same year, skeletal remains were found on a remote ranch in Tom Green County. Dental records confirmed what everyone feared. The remains belonged to Shane Stewart and Sally McNee. Autopsies revealed they had been murdered, their deaths marked by violence that shocked the community. The case sparked a frenzy of speculation. Whispers of satanic cults, revenge, and conspiracy filled the air. Investigators uncovered new evidence over the years, including potential suspects linked to the cult the teens had tried to escape. Despite these leads, no arrests were made, and the case remains officially unsolved. For over 3 decades, the murders of Shane and Sally have haunted San Angelo. Their story serves as a somber reminder of innocence lost and the shadowy forces that sometimes linger just beneath the surface of seemingly ordinary lives. To this day, their families and advocates hold out hope that one day justice will be served. The disappearance and tragic death of 7-year-old Jacqueline de Wallaby in 1988 remains one of the most haunting and controversial cases in Illinois. Jacqueline was reported missing on September 10, 1988, when her parents, David and Cynthia DeWallaby, found that she was not in her bed and called the authorities. The investigation quickly turned to suspicion surrounding the parents due to the broken basement window, which was initially thought to indicate an intruder. However, later forensic analysis confirmed that the window had been broken from the outside, casting doubt on the theory of a forced entry. Days later, Jacqueline's body was found, her nightgown still on her, strangled with a rope, and her comforter missing. Despite these clues, the DeWallabys faced accusations, partly based on dubious eyewitness accounts and forensic evidence, like the discovery of Jacqueline's hair in the trunk of their car. However, the evidence was inconclusive, and the parents' trial was marked by errors, such as the flawed identification of David by a witness. Cynthia was eventually acquitted, but David was convicted in 1990. His conviction was later overturned in 1991 following investigative journalism, which revealed flaws in the prosecution's case, including the faulty identification of David and issues with the key witness's testimony. The case remains unsolved, with other potential suspects emerging, such as Jacqueline's uncle and a known sex offender who had committed a similar crime shortly after Jacqueline's death. Despite the DeWallabys' release and the case's unresolved nature, Jacqueline's tragic death continues to haunt many, with suspicions surrounding other possible perpetrators lingering in the community. The Legend of the Pigman of Northfield, 1971. The small, quiet town of Northfield, Vermont, was known for its serene landscapes and tight-knit community. But in the summer of 1971, something dark began to stir in the woods surrounding the town, a creature unlike anything anyone had ever seen before. Locals would soon come to speak in hushed tones about the horrifying sightings of a grotesque humanoid being, with features that were disturbingly pig-like. This creature would forever be etched in the minds of those who lived there, leaving behind a chilling legend that would continue to haunt the town for years to come. It all began one evening when a group of teenagers, after a long summer day, decided to take a walk through the woods near Devil's Wash Bowl, a secluded area known for its eerie atmosphere. As they walked deeper into the trees, something caught their eye. A figure, standing on two legs, emerged from the underbrush. At first, they thought it was just an animal, but as it stepped into the moonlight, they could see its face, disturbingly human, but with features that looked unmistakably like a pig. The teens froze in terror. The creature stared back at them with wild, unblinking eyes, its skin pale and covered in a coarse white hair. The teens ran, hearts racing, desperate to escape the creature that seemed to come from another world. That was just the beginning. Soon, more people reported strange sightings. An older farmer who had gone out to collect firewood claimed he saw the same thing, a man-like creature with the face of a pig rummaging through his trash late one night. Others reported hearing odd noises in the woods, like low growls or the sound of heavy footsteps, though no one ever saw the creature again, until, that is, the stories began to spread. In the years that followed, the tale of the Pigman grew into something much larger than just a series of unsettling encounters. The creature became part of local folklore, with multiple versions of the story circulating among the townspeople. Some believed it to be the spirit of a butcher who had suffered a horrific accident, leaving him disfigured and driven mad. Others thought it was a monstrous figure who had once been a regular man, but after some dark pact or curse, he transformed into something unrecognizable, doomed to roam the woods forever. One of the most popular theories centered around a local teen named Sam Harris. On the night before Halloween in 1951, Sam disappeared without a trace. According to some versions of the legend, Sam had ventured into the woods to engage in some mischievous pranks on the night known as Picket Night. The search for him lasted weeks, but he was never found. Whispers in the town began to link his disappearance to the Pigman. Some claimed that Sam had been cursed or even possessed, emerging from the woods as the very creature terrorizing the town. The stories continued to spread, and with them came more terrifying encounters. Late-night drivers reported seeing the Pigman lurking by the roadside, its pig-like face glowing eerily in the headlights. One woman claimed she saw the creature sprint toward her car, scratching at the paint with its sharp claws. Another story told of a group of friends who camped out near Devil's Wash Bowl, only to be woken in the dead of night by the unmistakable sound of twigs snapping under heavy footsteps. When they looked outside their tent, they saw the Pigman standing at the edge of their campsite, staring directly at them, before vanishing back into the woods. To this day, the Pigman remains a part of Northfield's folklore, a terrifying reminder of the strange and the unknown that lurk just beyond the edges of our understanding. The sightings have stopped, but the legend endures, kept alive by those who still tell the tale to anyone brave enough to listen. In 1995, in the small town of Vidalia, Georgia, a man named Sonny Graham was given a second chance at life, a rare gift that came in the form of a heart transplant. Sonny had been suffering from severe congestive heart failure and was given mere months to live when he received the call. The heart belonged to Terry Cottle, a 33-year-old man from South Carolina who had tragically ended his own life. While Sonny knew nothing about Terry, this anonymous gift of life would forever change both their fates. But the story didn't end there. The bond between Terry and Sonny transcended the ordinary. Just a year after the transplant, Sonny, driven by a need for gratitude, contacted the family of his donor, hoping to thank them for the precious heart that had saved his life. This is when Sonny met Cheryl, Terry's widow. Cheryl, a mother of 4, had been devastated by Terry's suicide. Yet her pain began to heal when she found solace in Sonny's letters. As time passed, the connection between Sonny and Cheryl deepened. Their shared grief and mutual understanding led to an unexpected love story. Sonny and Cheryl married, finding comfort in one another as they rebuilt their lives. But even though they moved forward together, a shadow of Terry's presence seemed to linger. In 2008, another heartbreaking event occurred when Sonny, at 69, tragically passed away in a manner similar to Terry's death. It seemed as though the same darkness that had claimed Terry's life had now affected Sonny, leading him to a similar fate. Cheryl was once again left to cope with the immense sadness of losing a man she had loved, confronted by the unsettling similarity between the two losses. The strange coincidence left many people questioning the nature of the bond between organ donors and recipients. Was it just a cruel twist of fate, or was there something more to it? Some experts point to the phenomenon known as cellular memory, where transplant recipients sometimes take on traits or memories from their donors. While this concept remains largely unproven, the parallels in Sonny and Terry's lives were impossible to ignore. Cheryl, still grappling with the tragic events, was left to wonder if there was some deeper connection between the two men, a connection that went beyond the physical heart transplant. Did Sonny unknowingly inherit Terry's struggles and emotional turmoil, culminating in the same tragic outcome, or was it simply an unfathomable coincidence? The story of Terry Cottle and Sonny Graham has left a permanent mark on both the medical and emotional landscapes. It continues to be a haunting reminder of how connected we are as human beings, even in the most unexpected ways. The tale of these two men's eerily similar fates stands as a testament to the strange forces of fate and the enduring mystery that connects us all. The mysterious disappearance of Stephen Kraft Jr. It was an ordinary evening in Benton Township, Michigan, on February 15, 2001, when 12-year-old Stephen Kraft Jr. decided to take his dogs for a walk. He had been outside enjoying the winter evening with his two loyal companions, but when it was time for dinner, Stephen did not return home. His parents, Stephen and Mary Kraft, waited anxiously, but there was no sign of their son. His dogs were found later, wandering aimlessly, but there was no trace of Stephen. As the hours passed and night fell, the unease grew into fear. The search began immediately. Police, volunteers, and community members combed through the neighborhood, hoping for any sign of the missing boy. The local authorities contacted the FBI, but no clues led them closer to the truth. What had happened to Stephen? Had he been abducted, or had something else occurred that no one could explain? Stephen was wearing a distinct blue-green Charlotte Hornets jacket, a striped tan and white shirt, parachute pants, and black boots, the kind of outfit a young boy might wear on a chilly winter's night. The search continued for days, then weeks, and eventually the years passed. Yet the mystery remained unsolved. Over time, rumors swirled around the case, but no solid leads emerged. The police investigation revealed that Stephen's disappearance seemed completely random. No known enemies or suspicious characters were involved. The people who lived in the neighborhood were just as puzzled as the authorities. How could a boy vanish without a trace in such a quiet and peaceful town? Despite the passage of time, the case never left the hearts and minds of those who knew Stephen. Local investigators continued to work on it, and the FBI maintained the case as active, regularly revisiting leads. The mystery of what happened to Stephen was a stain on the community that no one could quite shake off. As the years passed, Stephen's face remained on missing person flyers and public notices. The Kraft family, devastated but never giving up hope, continued to hold vigils and appeal for any new information. Friends, neighbors, and even strangers helped spread the word, hoping that someone would come forward with the missing piece of the puzzle that could finally explain what had happened. To this day, the disappearance of Stephen Kraft Jr. remains an open and haunting case. The young boy's family and the community still search for answers, hoping that one day they will discover the truth. The mystery of his disappearance is a reminder that even in the most seemingly ordinary places, the unexplained can happen. And sometimes the answer remains just beyond our reach. The conspiracy theory linking Taylor Swift to Zena Levy, the daughter of Anton Levy, has circulated in certain online communities for years, captivating those interested in shadowy and mysterious narratives. According to this theory, Taylor Swift is alleged to be a clone of Zena, created for nefarious purposes by groups like the Illuminati. Proponents of the theory argue that the physical resemblance between the two women, as well as their shared prominence in the public eye, is evidence of a deeper, hidden connection. Supporters point to specific symbols and elements in Taylor's music and public persona as clues. For instance, the Bad Blood music video has been analyzed by some to uncover what they interpret as satanic imagery, alleged pentagrams or occult symbols hidden in the video's visual design. Additionally, certain recurring motifs, like colors, poses, and settings, are often cited as evidence of a broader occult theme. The number 13 is another focal point in the theory. Taylor has frequently referenced 13 as her lucky number, citing its personal significance due to its alignment with various milestones in her life. While she has openly embraced this connection, conspiracy theorists have expanded on this, suggesting that the number's frequent appearance is a deliberate signal to a to a larger hidden agenda tied to the Illuminati and other secret societies. Though these theories rely heavily on speculation, and there is no credible evidence to support the claims, they continue to fuel discussions in certain corners of the internet. Despite this, Taylor Swift herself has never acknowledged these theories, and they remain part of an ongoing narrative that blurs the line between pop culture and conspiracy-driven lore. The disappearance of Emily Parker, 2006. In the early hours of January 24, 2006, a promising young woman named Emily Parker disappeared from her downtown Orlando apartment, leaving behind a trail of questions that would remain unanswered for years to come. Emily was a 24-year-old marketing professional with a bright future ahead of her. She was known for her outgoing personality, her close-knit group of friends, and her unwavering dedication to her work. But on that fateful night, Emily vanished without a trace. Emily's disappearance was discovered when her concerned friends and family were unable to reach her by phone. Her car was still parked outside her condo, and the door to her apartment was locked from the inside. Inside the condo, everything appeared to be in order. There were no signs of a struggle or forced entry. But Emily was nowhere to be found. As investigators began piecing together the timeline of events, they came across something chilling: surveillance footage from a nearby gas station. In the grainy video, a figure dressed in dark clothing was seen walking near Emily's apartment complex around the time she was last known to be there. The figure's face was obscured, and their identity remained a mystery. The police released the footage to the public in the hopes of identifying the person of interest, but despite extensive media coverage, no one came forward with information. The case quickly garnered widespread attention, with theories ranging from abduction to voluntary disappearance, but no solid leads ever surfaced. Months turned into years, and Emily's case remained cold. Her family held out hope, clinging to the belief that she would be found safe. But as time passed, the questions only grew louder. What happened to Emily Parker that night? And who was the person in the video? Despite the lack of answers, Emily's disappearance continues to haunt the Orlando community. The video of the mysterious figure remains a focal point for speculation, but no breakthroughs have been made in the case. For those who knew her, the memory of Emily's smile and the hope that she might one day be found alive persists. The story of her disappearance is a tragic reminder of the uncertainty that can come without closure. And the mystery still lingers, unresolved to this day. The disappearance of Kelly Thompson, 1992. On a warm autumn evening in 1992, 17-year-old Kelly Thompson vanished without a trace from her small hometown in rural Texas. Kelly was a bright and well-liked high school senior, known for her love of music, her sense of humor, and her tight bond with her family. She was the kind of teenager who always had a smile on her face and a kind word for everyone. But on that fateful evening, everything changed. Kelly had been out with friends, enjoying a quiet night at a local diner, but by the time her parents went to bed, Kelly still hadn't returned home. They weren't immediately worried. After all, it wasn't uncommon for her to stay out late on weekends. However, hours passed, and when there was still no sign of Kelly by morning, her parents reported her missing to the local authorities. The initial investigation pointed to a troubling possibility. Kelly had disappeared under suspicious circumstances. There were no signs of a struggle, but Kelly's car was found abandoned several miles from her home. No one had seen her after she left the diner, and the authorities struggled to find any credible leads. It was as if she had simply vanished into thin air. As the investigation began to unravel, rumors surfaced that Kelly's disappearance might be connected to a satanic cult operating in the area. A small, tight-knit community, Texas had always been rife with local legends and stories about dark, hidden groups, and the police quickly became caught up in speculation. Allegations of a possible ritualistic abduction were thrust into the spotlight, fueled by whispers and unverified claims from townspeople. Despite the sensational nature of the rumors, investigators couldn't find any solid evidence to support the cult theory. However, the media and public's focus on the possibility of a satanic connection led the case down a dangerous and unproductive path. As law enforcement shifted attention away from more logical explanations, the investigation stalled. Witnesses who could have offered valuable information were ignored, and any leads that didn't fit the cult narrative were dismissed. Years passed, and Kelly Thompson's case became one of Texas' most haunting unsolved mysteries. The theories continued to multiply, but the truth remained elusive. Was Kelly taken by someone close to her, or was she a victim of a larger, more sinister force? Did the obsession with cults obscure a simpler, more tragic truth? Whatever the answer, Kelly's family was left with only questions and the hope that one day someone would bring the truth to light. The disappearance of Tommy Blake, 1991. In the summer of 1991, a family vacation to a picturesque Greek island would end in mystery and heartache. Tommy Blake, a curious and playful toddler barely 2 years old, was the youngest member of the Blake family, known for his big blue eyes and contagious laugh. His family, hailing from a quiet suburban town in the United States, had traveled to the island of Kos for what was supposed to be a carefree getaway. On July 24th, Tommy's mother, Sarah, had been watching him play outside their rented villa while she sat nearby, soaking in the warm sun. It was a typical afternoon. Tommy was running around the yard, picking up seashells and giggling at the distant sound of waves crashing along the beach. But when Sarah looked away for a moment to attend to his older sister, Tommy was gone. A frantic search ensued almost immediately. The Blakes' vacation turned into a nightmare as local authorities, along with tourists and locals, combed the island in search of the missing toddler. Hours turned into days, and no sign of Tommy was found. The small island, once tranquil and inviting, seemed to hold its breath as hope quickly faded. The story of the missing child captivated the media, but despite widespread coverage, there was no breakthrough in the case. As investigators tried to make sense of the events leading up to Tommy's disappearance, theories began to emerge. Some believed that Tommy had wandered off and accidentally fallen into a nearby ravine or drowned in the waters near the beach. But no body was found, and this theory seemed unlikely considering the area had been extensively searched. Others suggested that Tommy had been abducted, and the case took on an eerie twist. Witnesses reported seeing an unfamiliar man around the time Tommy went missing, but no concrete evidence was ever found to link him to the disappearance. The island, known for its peaceful ambience and quiet community, had never seen such a case, and the idea that a child could be taken from right under the nose of his family seemed almost impossible. In the years that followed, the theories surrounding Tommy's disappearance only grew more speculative. Some wondered if he had been kidnapped by a childless couple, while others feared that something darker, like human trafficking, might be involved. Yet, despite an international investigation and appeals for information, Tommy Blake's fate remained unknown. Now, more than 3 decades later, the case continues to haunt not only his family but the authorities, who have never been able to answer the burning question. What happened to Tommy Blake on that warm summer afternoon? Was he the victim of a tragic accident, or did someone take him away, leaving behind only the echoes of a family's heartbreak?
The stories of Frank Miller and the young couple Shane Stewart and Sally McNee remind us of the fragility of life and the profound consequences of our choices. Frank Miller's eerie prediction of his own death poses a profound question. If today were your last day, have you lived fully and peacefully? His sudden passing demonstrates how life can change in an instant. One moment we are present, the next is uncertain. Frank's words are not meant to spread fear, but to encourage mindfulness, gratitude, and purposeful living. In contrast, the tragedy of Shane and Sally tells a tale of dangerous choices and hidden perils. Though young, they were drawn into dark forces and paid the ultimate price. Their attempt to escape was met with tragedy, yet their story reminds us to be vigilant when making decisions, especially when facing temptations and dangers. Life lessons. Life is finite. Live with purpose and clear values. Don't let precious moments slip by meaninglessly. Making the right choices matters. Not every door should be opened. Sometimes refusing the wrong path is a way to protect yourself. Cherish the presence of those around you, whether family, friends, or the community. Connection is a source of strength during difficult times. Stay aware of potential dangers. Living an honest life and protecting yourself is essential. Life may be fragile, but through every ordeal, we learn to appreciate existence and live more.